Here is pastel only, then obviously pastel and marker, and then this one's a mixture of both. And with pastel, you can decide, you kind of get different effects. You could go all pastel and just kind of a softer look, and adding in some shadow with the marker. So it kind of goes different ways, and you get different effects. With this one, I happen to have a marker that matched up well with the pastel. So a lot of times when you're combining pastel and markers, you might have to mix some colors to get it similar. If you're layering colors and there's too much of a difference, if you have really dark green and then I have this light green, this transition might look a little bit too harsh, and so it might look a little weird. So it's pretty close here on this one. So I'll just do a quick, I'll do the sphere and then go into maybe doing the shape again. So for the sake of time, I just use a stencil. Tip. So you need something to shave off the pastel with. You could even use just the blunt end of a X-Acto knife. And so it gets kind of messy, but you don't really want to, like after you do it, blow on, like hold it up to your face and go, because then you'll breathe in, you get pastel taste in your mouth, and it's not that good. So and one thing you can do too to get the pastel to go further, you can use like baby powder, or I just went to like Walgreens and got some like this powder here. So you can add that to the color, and then it'll just kind of make it go a little bit longer. It does lighten it up a little bit, so you might need to add a little more color. This one, I'm just going to follow the shape. It's kind of like similar to the marker demos that we did that are still up there. This might be if you're trying to do something that's like maybe like a gumball or something. And so I'm just kind of working it in, and I'm going a little bit over the line. And so I'm leaving a little bit of highlight on there. You could always come back in and add that. So just really quickly come in here. So a bit more of a cleaned up version of it. And if you wanted to add in even like a little bit more intense highlight, then the other technique is with the marker. So you can do a little test to mix colors. I did a little test here to make sure it matched up pretty good. And again, I'm going to use this to lay in my core shadow. So again, I'm going to be kind of like turning or keeping the marker vertical and then swinging to the side. It's almost kind of like calligraphy, I guess. So if you don't hit it exactly right the first time, just touch it up a little bit. And again, I didn't go all the way to the edge, just left a little bit. And should have enough color here. And I'm using marker paper too for this, since I'm combining both. So maybe this one might be more like if I had the shadow at like and so I'll do this. So before Photoshop, this is how you got gradients to go. Now you can do your brush tool and make it, bring the hardness down and just kind of brush over stuff, or take and make a block and actually put in using the gradient tool. So. And then this is actually, what I'm doing here is pre-Photoshop too, so these are my layers. Sometimes you don't really think about, like why are there layers? So this is Photoshop. And one thing, just always rotating my page, so I'm doing my lines this way. If I'm trying to go quick, we'll just try and do it all in one direction, or just leave the page. But since I'm not in a super rush. Kind of ghosting over, so I just have a really light guidelines. And to get with this pen, even though if I use it vertically, just straight down, I get the most ink. But if I turn it to the side, I kind of get this pen's kind of running low. But you can just get some like really nice light scratch lines. How's it going down there? All right. Cool. All right, so got this laid out. What's nice is that always you're gonna, unless you mix this with Bastine or another thinner, which we'll do later, your markers you can always be able to be darker than your pastel. So for this drawing, I laid in marker here and here, and then flipped it over, and then did another layer of marker on the back on the darkest side. You can see that there's some marker there. So again, going with the shape of the object, and using the idea of having a light edge up against a dark edge, so you know where things are turning. You can even look like at this table, look at the edge. It's really bright up top, and then when it gets to the side, it's dark, so you can see that it's kind of moving down. So. Fully coloring book style. So try to make it darker. Alright, so on that side it's a little bit darker slightly. And now for this top part, I'm just going to lay in. I mean, of course you can see the line. You'll always, I mean, if you work it really hard, you could get it to transition perfectly. But just for a quick rendering, I put in a few lines and then stop so I can do my gradient over to the other side. And I'm not putting my marker here because you could put it there, but you want to make sure you leave a white space there so it's differentiated. But I'm going to go from this side and then transition over because it makes it really prominent that there's this edge here, and then it shoots down. So it's kind of like over exaggerating what it really would look like. So I got a little bit of a dark spot there, which you'll see, but it'll be okay. People get the point. So some of my green. If you don't like that sound, good luck using pastels. Add more green to it. You can always add, if you have a darker green, or sometimes a little bit of black will darken up the color. I think this should be sufficient. But I added a couple little strokes going this way just to even it out. You can kind of see it on this top edge. Right. And so my pastel stroke is going with the perspective and the shape, and just working it in over the marker. So salvage some of my pastel. Leave the pastel a little bit over. It's kind of hard to notice, but since I have my eraser here. I suggest cotton squares over cotton balls, so they're easier to use for this. And so I have three instruments I can use. One is this is like a jelly roll white. You can that comes in tons of colors. This works. This is a aquarelle, so it's like a watercolor type pencil, but you can write on like plastic and metal, and it sticks quite well onto the page. And then also, I was going through my old art supplies, found white charcoal, and that can work as well. And there's even you could use a white paint, like Copic makes a white pigment that you can use with a brush. You see a lot of, if you've ever seen like Overhauling, you've seen that? Chip Foose, he draws cars and they look amazing. You'll use white paint for the highlights, and so try out a little bit of this, the jelly roll pen. I think I've had it since this is good. No, I didn't.
You weren't cool with you had jumping.
And so I just added a little bit of white on there on this edge and this corner on there. And if you wanted to, you could even add like a little speck, like a little dot on the edge, just to maybe there's an outside kind of light poking on it, just to give it some interest. Here. And I think on that one I just added one more line for the. Just going to show that it's at the bottom. Again, for me, because your arm is, it's attached to your body, and if you were to try to draw a straight line, your tendency is to do a curve. And so when I rotate my page, so that I'm always, even though you're going to have a tendency to do a curve, so why not turn the page so that you're working with your body, as opposed to turning it this way and trying to go like that, which is kind of feels weird. So I'm always rotating my page to make it easier, and making the page work for me, So there's that. It's for a quick cube exercise. So with this assignment, I made it to be kind of like an in-between, like structure and possibly a like play school or Lego copy machine or something. But I wanted to put in some round corners cut out. So maybe this could be like where the paper comes out, or it's like a loading dock to a building. And then if you have a cube and we were to look at this edge, like look at the cube straight on, like if I was looking right down the edge, right down, if I were to draw that edge just straight down, it would look like this. So you have this like a line or a point that defines that edge, so it's like dink straight down. But if you have a rounded edge, a cylinder running down the edge, and so see, and then those two lines are defined by where that circle is tangent to the edge. So we're to be drawing out and this was like some quick, like a touch screen. So let's say this was like your iPhone that's a block. It's not a rounded edge, maybe it's like the old model. And so to make like a screen reflection, if you hold up your phone to light, you can notice sometimes like by the lights being like this, it'll create like a cross plane on your screen. So then you could even add in could add in a little bit of pastel, and then so I just laid some down, and then can lay that on top. But then you can come back with your eraser. Then one last bit. So if I have this design here, And with doing pastels on this, get some big Post-it notes. I recommend to use this and not artist tape. And you can block off areas and then not have to worry about your overflow. So I'll make a quick pastel backing on this guy here. Of course, you can't always erase, but if you got the tools, why not? So, yeah, watch out for your stuff. Pastel gets kind of messy. So I have a green object. What do you think would be a good color? Red? We're getting close to the holidays. Okay. But, I mean, on the color wheel, right, red is, the inverse of green. We want to think about when you're doing backing, you're not doing green and then another shade of green behind it. So, yeah, to have something pop. How about, this is like red, orange. Let me try this one out. And, cool, thanks. So you could do another technique. This red is kind of, this is close. Yeah, you could end up combining the marker and pastel, but I'm just going to do all pastel here. If you want, you can could darken this up a little bit and then add some line strokes to the backing. That's how it would be done back in the day, but it's still a cool technique. If sort of discussions on how people perceive hand renderings versus 3D models and having like the human touch and being able to like see like time, maybe time invested in these. And I mean, everybody's different, but I think it looks pretty cool if you could show up and go, this is what your, I don't know what that would be. But, huh?
Router.
A what?
Looks like a router.
Router?
Wireless router. What do you think?
Oh, wireless router, yeah. So this is my concept for we're getting close to holiday season. And so, yeah. But, yeah, having that, like, hand touch to it is pretty cool, so, yeah. And so you can do that too with all these. So this was one that was pastel and did some like green marker on it. And I didn't add a background yet, so I put add background so I can pass this one. This was one that I didn't finish out in class, but it has pastel. There's marker underneath this, and then did the like sky. It looks a little different in person, but then again, you want, when you're choosing colors, to make sure, like, if you're designing a product, think about who your target audience is. So you might not want to do like a rainbow sky for some company that's like really serious, or I don't know, whatever the industry is. So make sure to pick your colors. Let's see this. Yeah, I'll post this one. And then this one just shows a little bit of the construction lines, how I got stuff going on it. So, and eventually you get to the point where you won't even need to put 2 dots and draw out lines. You can just kind of know that somewhere out in this area is one vanishing point, and because a lot of times you're not going to be able to fit it on the page to make it look the right size. It'll be like way out here. More cylinders going through the object. So there's another one going that way.
Yeah.
And then you do it on another one on that, on this side too, and also on the top going down. So basically what it ends up, what it'll end up looking like is you'll have this edge coming down and turning in, and then this one turning in. So let me redo one that's a little bit closer to scale. So. Okay, so yeah, so it starts to end up to look like, you end up with like this, like kind of like if you took a triangle and there was a sticker and you put it on a sphere, it would be like this this shape. You can do it definitely more exact than I'm doing, but you'll get the idea. So all the lines aren't, they're not lining up perfectly, but